Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another round of Coffee and Questions. What's today's topic going to be? We're going to talk about Harbor Freight's lift platform. And they make a couple of different ones, but we're going to focus in on the 1,000-pound one first. So let me change the picture. Let's talk about the pros and cons. And I'll give you a couple of tips on how you can fix a few things yourself if you choose to, rather than return it. But let's take a look at the platform first. Here we go. So the way that I did this is I took questions off of the forum and the answers. The small group that we have that we meet and we discuss tools and stuff, one of the guys had bought one of these and we did end up taking it back. To make a long story short, the main problem is in the hydraulics and the leaking of the hydraulic fluid and all of that kind of stuff that relates to the hydraulics is just poor. But if you happen to get a good one, and it's working fine, then it's a good deal. It is very well constructed, but a lot of the returns, everything that I was reading revolves really around the hydraulics. A couple of times, the frames on this were bent, and that, hollow tube, handle there, it was bent. So my first word of caution is if you buy one out there, take it apart in the parking lot, take it out of the box, and take a look at it before you get it home and assemble it and find out that there's these big problems and you have to take it back. First indicator, and I agree with the people, both in the forum, is that, look, if you see that the box that it's in, the big cardboard box, looks like it's been dropped or damaged or hit with a forklift, you definitely want to open it before you get it home and make sure these things were rough handled, I guess from overseas to here. So that's kind of like your first caution. The second one is I would open it up, make sure all the nuts and bolts and stuff are there. There's some some comments and complaints that people didn't get all the nuts and bolts they needed in terms of the hardware. They had to go to the hardware store, yada yada. Not a big deal, I guess, as long as the thing performs like it should, but a lot of the time it doesn't. So let's jump to the question and answer part of this. The first one being, there are two ways that little fill screw on there is manufactured. Now, the first one is it actually has a threaded screw, but the seal on it is not all that great. It's made out of, let me see, what's it made out of? Got some kind of a plastic washer somebody wrote in one of the articles. So what they did is they went down, they got a 5/16 galvanized sealing washer. Now, that's both steel and with like a rubber molded washer on it, and they replaced it and it's worked fine. Should you have to do that? No. Should it came complete? Yes. But this was a quick fix for this particular person that had bought this. Now, a lot of these units come with just a rubber plug. Once you remove it, because it doesn't come with hydraulic oil, you got to buy hydraulic oil while you're out there because there is no hydraulic oil in it, is that when there's any kind of downward pressure, that little rubber plug comes free and it blows hydraulic fluid all over the place, creates a huge mess. And so these are the frustrations that people ran into and the reasons for returning them. We returned the one that we had in the club, and there wasn't another one because we were going to just take the one we had back and get another one. And the reason for that was the same. It was leaking hydraulic fluid no matter what we were doing. Now, I suppose we could have tapped a new hole and we could have put a new threaded plug in there and we could have went through all that, and we decided, well, that's not something that we should have had to have done. The product should have been manufactured correctly. But when we went to return it, they didn't have any in stock. So we're waiting, the guy out at the club that bought it, and we demoed the tools out there. He has to wait a couple of weeks, I believe, until new shipment comes in. Question, what about the directions? Well, the directions are poor, and even in the ones that have a rubber plug, because some come with a rubber plug, some come with that threaded nut plug. The directions relate to the threaded nut plug, which don't really relate to the rubber plug, which overall the directions are poor in telling you exactly how to go about filling that hydraulic cylinder with hydraulic oil. If anybody knows a really good, easy way to do it because you have one of these, do me a favor, put it in the comment below how you did it, because it would help a lot of people that are struggling with this, because many people who have followed the instructions or tried it on their own have made a huge mess with hydraulic fluid everywhere until they can manage to figure out either how to do it or they just say to heck with it and they return it. So drop a comment below if you've got an effective way of filling this with hydraulic fluid. And in the instructions, it'll tell you on all these units when you get them, you do have to bleed the hydraulic cylinder. So how much of a pain that is, I don't know. We actually, we filled ours and the thing immediately was leaking. So we didn't even get to the point to where, we tried to bleed it and play around with it. So we just threw in the towel and decided to take it back. How much does it weigh? It weighs about 150, 160 pounds. Make sure that you check the alignment on some of these. People returned them because that hydraulic cylinder, that fabricating part of it, that assembly was crooked. It wasn't lined up correctly. So they returned it for that reason. I will also tell you, get the extended warranty. I think the one to begin with was 90 days, if I remember the guy in the club told me, but he got the extended warranty on his because he knew the odds are against him that, that it's going to just keep lasting past the 90 days without a problem. So, the warranty on something like this is probably a good idea for you. What happens when you call the service department? Well, the friend of mine out in the club did, and I also read in the comment, call them. They're not going to be much help to you. There are no parts available for this at the current time. Or as of a week ago from, me doing this video, there was no parts availability list or anything like that. I don't want to say the people at Harbor Freight blew us off, but there just are no parts available is the short answer. Yeah, well, the one that we had, even though we noticed it leaking, we were playing around with it, and with no load on the platform, that whole scissor lift part, it started to slowly depress down. So shouldn't do that. Like I said, I wish I had a really good one that we could have demoed and I could have given you, a better heads up on the video. But this is one of those things where if you get a good one, like I keep saying, it's a great thing to have. It's just a matter of, you have to check these things and make sure that everything's functioning okay and you got all the pieces, you got all the nuts and bolts. Somebody may mention the casters are cheap junk. Well, the casters are okay. The better casters, like the ones in the front, those are stationary casters. And I think that Dennett Tools did a thing like, hey, look downstream. If he had a chance, he would probably replace the ones on the front with swivel casters. They don't have to be locking. The ones in the back are locking. But you can always replace them with better casters if you get a really good unit. And I agree with that. That would make it great, but you're also adding more money into the cost of the tool. The friend of mine, what was he going to use it for? Well, he went out to the welding steel supply store to the cutoff section, and he got a piece of real thick. I believe it's either 3/8 or quarter, I forgot. And he was going to put it on top and make a small portable welding table, which I thought, hey, that's a good idea. He could easily, a lot of us have garages and everything's got to be mobile. So his thought was he would just make this mobile welding table, which I thought was a great idea. And, he would just pull it out, hook his clamp up to it, do his welding. You might have other uses for it. Some people like to raise it up to the height of their truck bed tailgate and then slide heavy objects off onto it. And you can wheel it around and then you can lower it and do what you want. Dennett Tools did one where I think he offloaded a washing machine with his. So it comes in handy for a lot of things. A couple of final thoughts. If the people at Harbor Freight, are listening, or Eric Schmidt, look, what I would tell you is you need to go back, to the threaded plug with a good rubber seal. That's, point 1. Point 2 is they should come pre-filled with hydraulic fluid, like ready to go right out of the box. We're not talking about a big cost here, to do that and make sure that these cylinders are sealed well and not leaking. Now, even though it got high ratings, like you see above my head, we all know people write ratings, for companies and stuff like that. But the points, the negatives that you read about, they're very true and they're very frequently found in most of these. So recap real fast, check the box, make sure the box isn't all damaged, make sure a forklift didn't hit it or they didn't drop it off the truck. I would open it up out in the parking lot. One reader wrote where he did that, and the manager of the store actually spent time to help him make sure that it got assembled, correctly. Even went in, helped him get the hydraulic fluid, and his came with, the little screw nuts. So he got lucky because some of these units, like I said, come with the rubber plug. So you need to get rid of that. That was a bad idea. Or, like I said, if you can figure out, a way you can tap and make one yourself, I think that's fine, and that would cure the problem. I'm the home handyman's helper. I'm the wolf. This was a quick review. I would love to have one of these, but I want one after the problems, they've been resolved. Not so much the casters. If you fixed all of the problems relating, with the hydraulics, I would definitely buy one right now. Waiting for the friend of my club to go out and get that next one, and I'm hoping we don't run into those problems anymore, because other platforms like this out on the market, they're 3 times the amount of money. Now this right here, this price, this $269.99, you can get these on sale and use coupons and everything else and drive the price way down, which makes them a great deal. Makes it very handy. Like I said, I want one, but I'm going to wait till we get some of the bugs out of it. Great idea, Harbor Freight. Anyway, thank you folks for watching. I hope you have a good day. Click subscribe. Don't forget, drop me a comment if you know how to fill these hydraulic cylinders better, or if you have another fix other than the ones I'm talking about, for the drain and fill plug. Thank you folks for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.